People them plenty for inside country. Now this palaver for a United States ambassador for inside Cameroon. They calling a Peter Henry Baleren. Yes. Now the demand that this rapid just now in the Cameroon. He don't go for America. He want go rest more. He say Nkunkuma get for copy better fashion for people then like Nelson Mandela and who George Washington for say waiting. Make enter for Palava vote. Le jeune Belambela, Minister for External Relations, he talk say lie to lie. Say that man Peter, he no be get right. Ambassador Peter no be get right for talk Palava from Nkunkuma. Say now Nkunkuma he don't make and say make Cameroon people the day one. And he no be get right for talk say Cameroon people there for country they di so kiki or bonbon place for that side for northwest and southwest. Now the thing that way he make a Jean Belambela he come out he write his own BB book after we Ambassador Peter Balerense said he write his own. So just now I saw the talk Sabi say na big war. Yes, big war e dey no be na war where they fight with the shake and shoot or with the bomb, but Sabi say na war with Cameroon and America for on top paper. Yes, on top paper. Sabi say all the one it happen where Peter Balerense said he don't go for America now for go get a small better rest for that side so for America. This one na he own small leave where he don't get them. He own small holiday where he get them where he don't go so for that side so for America. So now so for chapter for she don't wait for here wait where it go happen. Jump pass we enter for inside case for Mancho BBC. Country people them we take una enter for inside case for Mancho BBC this afternoon. Now for Sika say waiting. Sabi say case for Mancho BBC now this afternoon. Yes, this afternoon for 4 o'clock. Now we court it go start. Yes, 4 o'clock. Now we court for that side so for military court for Yawende e get for start for talk the kind cassingo where they go give for Mancho BBC and e 6 other combi them where e dey so they be there for courthouse yesterday. According to Tori wey be enter for we here yesterday for inside courthouse, Sabi say Mancho BBC they be enter for court around 9 o'clock for morning time. Lights e off, heat e wan kill people them for inside courthouse and na so two place e be the dark. Population wey be comot yesterday for the case e no be dey like the one wey e don ever comot. Na so two lawyer people dem say they be come for so palava for the case for a countryside or even one day they can help for say make they see as way they fit comot Mancho BBC them or dem too they no become them plenty. And inside the courthouse yesterday after we case e finish so they talk say na today they go comot casting home. They talk say wetin say inside the same case oga lawyer wey e be take photo with all the people them. Police people they holy say he must to wipe that photo them for inside tigni before he come up for courthouse. So now the thing that we passed yesterday, Sabi say casting go for Mancho BBC and the other combi them. He go come on now for 4 o'clock. According to Tori enter for we EM now 4 o'clock. We lawyer people them Colonel Abega Mbezwe when I said he be head there for inside Kamamburu people them court for Yawinde. He go talk on top this palava for that side so for Yawinde. 4 o'clock now the time we court case it go start and now only for continue for wait for here wait way it go happen whether na casting go for inside Gata or na say they go give small time from Gata. Now after 4 o'clock we fit talk whether for two Mancho BBC they don't give casting go for she done for inside Gata for plenty time.
Tonight, in this edition of the primetime newscast on Equinox Television, the Director General of Elections Cameroon, Abdoulaye Babale, has been sacked. It is the outcome of a meeting of members of Board of Directors at the elections governing body that took place this 25th of May 2018. In this newscast, we tell you how it has been an outcome of a conflict that has been going on between the board chair of elections Cameroon and the general manager. Also in this newscast, we tell you about Mancho BBC and other detainees of the Anglophone crisis that are currently at the military tribunal in the nation's capital. The verdict is expected today. Those are headlines. We shall be right back with the details. Stay with us. Good evening to you, ladies and gentlemen. We thank you for joining us in this edition of the primetime newscast on Equinox Television. Abdoulaye Babale dismissed as Director General of Elections Cameroon. It is the fallout of a meeting of Elecam board members which took place today in Yaoundé. The meeting, chaired by Eno Abrams Egbe, outlined what they described as heavy crimes committed by Abdoulaye Babale, which violate Section 2 of Article 25 of the Electoral Code in Cameroon. The board members cited the tense atmosphere amongst Elecam workers in an electoral year and the repeated absence of the Director General in meetings organized by the board chair, and added that the image of the institution has been at stake as a result. Abdoulaye Babale is being dismissed on the eve of presidential election in Cameroon. His last outing was here in the economic capital Douala, as we can see on our screens, precisely on Wednesday, where he assured that all is well within the institution and that Elecam was combat ready for upcoming elections in the country. Abdoulaye Babale was appointed on July 2015 to replace Mohamed Sani Tanimu, who equally was in constant conflict with the then board chair of Elections Cameroon, Samuel Fonka Azu. We shall be coming back to the last excerpt that was conducted, interview that was conducted to Abdoulaye Babale, that was here in the economic capital Douala. He was talking about the atmosphere at Elections Cameroon. Let's hear him in the following interview.
To gather the results of different registrations in the 4 regions gathered here. Up till May 18, 2018, respectively, 70,463 electors for the Liberal region, 17,207 electors for the Northwest, then 30,625 electors for the West, and finally 8,816 electors for the Southwest region, representing a total of 127,111 electors nationwide registered since the beginning of registration process this year.
That is an excerpt of the Director General of Elections Cameroon, Abdoulaye Babale, that was dismissed today following a meeting of the board members of Elections Cameroon that took place in the nation's capital. It is the outcome of the ongoing conflict between the board chair. It is not new within the elections governing body in the country. The previous board chair of Elections Cameroon was equally having constant conflict with the Director General that was equally dismissed and replaced by Abdoulaye Babale. That was in 2015. We of course will be telling you more on that in our subsequent newscast. On to something else. We take you now to the military tribunal still in the nation's capital Yaoundé, which is heavily militarized, as Mancho, BBC and other detainees of the Anglophone crisis await verdict in the case pitting them and the state of Cameroon. The Anglophone activists arrived at the court this afternoon, few minutes to 4 p.m. when the session was due to begin. It should be noted that yesterday the defense lawyer Barrister Emmanuel Sim told the judge of the military court to use her conscience and to be reasonable with the detainees of the Anglophone crisis. He said that Mancho, BBC and co. are not guilty of terrorism. They are simply fighting for a better future and urged the court to put the future, not to put their future rather into jeopardy. Barrister Louisa, that is one of those defending the detainees of the Anglophone crisis, told the court to take into consideration the social status of the refugees, or rather the Anglophone detainees. They said that fining Mancho, BBC and co. in Yaoundé for crimes they committed in Bamenda and Dimbe is illegal, according to the defense lawyers. As I indicated, the verdict is expected today. Mancho, BBC is being accused of has been found guilty of terrorism, secession and revolution. He was simply acquitted during the hearing that took place in the month of April 2018 of rebellion, civil war, destruction of property and killing. We would be telling you more on that in our subsequent newscast. We now take a look at how the Anglophone crisis is affecting some Cameroonians that have been migrating within and out of the national territory. Figures advanced by UNESCO officials say that they are stepping up efforts to curb the rate of migration into and out of the national territory. They are training experts including researchers, educationists and lot others to manage refugee situations via different mechanisms alongside government officials that are said to be inefficient as far as the situation is concerned. Innocent as it tells us more in this report.
2 years since the socio-political crisis started and escalated, over 21,000 Anglophones have been registered in neighboring country Nigeria as refugees. Reason for government silence on the situation, according to commentators and observers, is due to lack of social and political will, plus challenges it faces in helping refugees in the east and far north regions. Reasons why, to them, government closes eyes to the Anglophone refugee situation in Nigeria.
Avec les crises sociales.
Dr. Helen Manka Ntonifo, inspector in the Ministry of Scientific Research and Innovation, says government needs to adopt adequate mechanisms to manage the mass mobility of Cameroonians in and out of the country to seek refuge.
On doit avoir un mécanisme de gérer ces migrations.
The uncomfortable situation has been a preoccupation to the United Nations Educational, Scientific and Cultural Organization, UNESCO, that has been at the mercy and service of displaced children.
Les questions de mobilité, migration.
To UNESCO officials, Cameroon's unreadiness towards social transformation of these refugees rather brings negative impacts on the nation.
Pour la première fois, nous mettions un focus sur ces questions de mobilité.
Focus of this gathering grouping researchers, educationists and a host of other experts as participants is to curb the frequent mass mobility of persons into and out of Cameroon as asylum seekers.
Nous sommes amenés à former un vivier d'experts.
This will be achieved when these participants must have been trained and integrated to work hand in glove with government.
Donc les chercheurs, les experts, les académiciens sont là.
It is highly expected that the migration rates of influx of people, despite the Anglophone crisis, will drop at bottom level when these control mechanisms are put in place, same to the far north and other regions of the country.
And traders at Marché du Global here in the economic capital Douala are buying and selling in field. We take you to that area that is situated in Bepanda here in the city of Douala, where the population is blaming the government delegate to the Douala City Council and the company in charge of waste management in the country. Once again, Innocent Aze.
This is Double Market in Bepanda, Douala 5 municipality, colonized by heaps of garbage.
It's 2 weeks now since they threw the dead there. So many people around here, they are just bringing all dead, they are putting it there. Yesterday it was not like this, but today is really unimaginable. It's too much.
Traders are now using nose masks to consolidate their business positions around the decayed heaps of rubbish that have created artificial mountains in the core of the market. These mountains of debt have slowed down business as traders cannot be located by their steady customers.
Our business is not going well because of the debt, because it is blocking too much customer from trespassing to come this way to buy. So I can say that this country, I don't even know where they are leading on.
Meat and juicy fruits like mangoes are visited and contaminated by houseflies.
It's even giving sick to so many people around here, and even us that we are selling here.
Circulation of vehicles, motorbikes and persons in and out of the market is not flexible. Blame suits of this phenomenon has been worn on some Douala 5 council personnel and residents who now use the market as their garbage dump sites. On the part of the traders, some of them say they have never had plans of dumping dirt in this commercial area but the worsening situation instigated them.
On va faire comment? C'était déjà plein ici.
Business persons at the Double market, in astonishment, draw the attention of the Douala City Council and the garbage collection company, Elecam.
Innocent, as they're reporting about the difficulties of traders at Marché Double here in the economic capital Douala. It is situated in Bipanda. They can now heave a sigh of relief after the garbage ship was emptied, or the garbage ships were emptied last night by the government delegate to the Douala City Council and the company in charge of waste management. We now come to our feature page in this edition of the news. We take you to the Akondwe neighborhood in the nation's political capital, harboring one of the hills that have given the name, given Yaoundé the attribute of the town of 7 hills. What caught our attention there is the rock, a portion of the rock that has split into two and is endangering the lives of local inhabitants. Babla Jonathan tells us more in this report.
It can be seen from a distance, but the journey to the natural feature that attracts every attention and has been in public discussions in Cameroon's political capital, Yaoundé, is an uphill task. The large rock is planted on a hill in Akondwe in the Yaoundé 6 subdivision. At the foot of the rock, houses have been constructed. They are harboring over 100 families. Some were born here and others have been here for decades. They are not worried about the looming danger.
There were trees there, up here, all over here, even in front of this door, there were trees there. So when we bought our plot, we cut the trees that were there. After some time, we discovered that there was a stone there. So we went closer to the person whom we bought this plot from. The person told us that there is no problem there since they were born. That stone was like that. That they used to go there and fetch firewood. They used to go there and hunt. That's what those people told us. Even there's one grandmother here that she's always here. She used to tell us that there's no problem on that. And I myself have witnessed it. I went over there. I've gone round the stone, going this way or the other way around to look for firewood. There's no problem on it. So we are not even afraid of it since they have been there for years. And they made it also like that. So we don't have any problem on that. We are not afraid of that stone.
Je suis là plus de 40 ans. Thierry Achiri has been living here for 40 years and says the shape or position of the rock has not changed.
La pierre est là. Nous on cueille les mangues là-bas. Je suis seulement allé visiter comme ça là.
And David Betambe has gone closer to the rock to see if it could collapse in the future and says it is buried in a deep hole. It is a source of water for several inhabitants of this part of Yaoundé.
The water that people are drinking down there, the water comes from here. Because when you go closer to that store, you will discover that there is water down, right down. That water is saving those people that are down this valley because they don't have water there. So it is through this stone that they have water here. Us, we will have our own drinking water. Everywhere here you see well. Even in front of me here, this is my water here. Is well. You go behind here to this my neighbors here. They have wells here that are from these stones. So we don't have any difficulties here and we are not even afraid of that stone. There's nothing there. When we sleep us peacefully.
Ça c'est un lieu touristique pour moi.
Thierry highlights the tourist character of the rock.
Dans il y a les chambres même. La pierre est là comme ça là. Ça c'est tout un village de gens.
Born here in 1937, Christine Oteli believes that God can never allow the rock to collapse.
Le rocher là ne peut jamais tomber. Moi je vous dis au nom de l'Éternel.
The Akondwe Hill is one of the red zones in Yaoundé, and human occupation is strictly forbidden here, but many continue buying portions of land close to the rock on which houses are built. Territorial Administration Minister Paul Atanganji was already here to examine the situation and danger looming over inhabitants of Akondwe.
Le ministre a dit que il ne fait pas que les gens soient très proches.
And Thierry says the minister urged them not to go closer to the rock.
On n'a pas dit qu'on va casser les gens.
He adds that it has not been announced that they will be forcefully evicted from the area.
We now take you to the southwest region of Cameroon to take a look at the level of underdevelopment in this locality called Bafaka Balwe. It is a nightmare to local inhabitants. Roads are bad. Without electricity and access to potable water is problematic in that locality. Details in the following report.
A village of 1,000 troubles with villagers in suffering. Bafaka Balwe in Ekondo Titi in Indian Division is one of the most enclaved parts of the southwest region of Cameroon. Underdevelopment challenges have deprived inhabitants of basic necessities.
Road is a very big fundamental problem in Bafaka, because you can imagine paying Okada from Bekura to Bafaka is not less than 10,000 to 15,000 and in time of rainy season.
We have difficulty also in the transportation of those who are sick. There are some illness that a vehicle cannot take somebody out of this village.
Many people are sick. We don't have a route where they can carry the people to the hospital.
In the absence of pipe-borne water, the people of Bafaka Balwe cover long distances to fetch poor quality water from contaminated sources.
Our water is very bad and the water is soon get dry since there's no pipe-borne water.
We don't have water to drink here because one, Bafaka is even located on a hill, and now it's dry season. If there is no rain by the end of March, we'll have no water to drink. We only go right, they call it Rikoso, to go and fetch water. It's very far.
And because of this, they are exposed to waterborne diseases and their damaging effects on their health.
The water again is not first of all good. We are drinking water, having cholera, diseases.
We are facing a lot of difficulties, especially this dry season. Many people are dying.
Besides the problem of water scarcity, the locality's integrated health center is also handicapped by insufficient personnel.
In the hospital, the nurse does not have water, and without water, the hospital cannot operate well. We also have problem of staff. We don't have enough staff, you see, only the madam alone.
Buildings of its primary school constructed with wood are in a dilapidated state under the weight of age and pressure from natural factors like rain, sunshine and wind. In the night, the entire village is in total darkness due to the absence of electricity. These and other problems plaguing Bafaka Balwe and its people are awaiting solutions from government and elite.
We are just pleading for the government that they should look into this situation of road. We are still pleading for water system.
We are pleading for our elite that they can make something good in order for us to have good water.
We are pleading for the government, Economic Council and the elites who are outside to help us in this condition of drinking water.
We are pleading for the government, our elites. They should send us some pipe-borne water so that we can reduce the death rates in Bafaka.
Meantime, poor and precarious living conditions continue inflicting pains and sorrow on the people of Bafaka Balwe.
And before we go, it should be noted that the principal of GHS Bolifamba in my 16 Boya southwest region of the country is nowhere to be found. She was picked up. She's called Enanga Georgina. She was picked up and taken to an unknown destination by some unidentified individuals few hours ago in that part of the southwest region of Cameroon. Investigations on course. It is happening barely few days to the start of the General Certificate of Education examinations across the national territory. There are equally reports of a chaotic atmosphere in Santa as well as in Batibo of the Mezam and Momo divisions of the northwest region of Cameroon, amidst reports of how several persons are said to have been killed. We are gathering information on the ground. We would be keeping you updated as soon as we are informed. We thank you so much, televiewers, for joining us in this edition of the Primetime Newscast on Equinox Television. Wishing you a blessed stay in the company of our programs. Until we meet again, goodbye.